you can be part of the Hofstra Pride.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm here to talk about Island Federal Credit Union.
And I'm Bob from National Big Bank.
Island Federal has been providing personal banking services for over 65 years and donated over $1 million to Long Island-based charities.
Nobody loves Long Island more than National Big Bank. We're fully committed to Patch House, Hop House, Wantung, Ronco, Renair. Okay, no, wait, that's not real. You're messing with me now.
Island Federal. You can bank on the power of if.
Hofstra Hello means to me family.
Community of opportunities.
People.
A home away from home.
Tradition. Connections.
Religion.
Friendship.
For 75 years, Hofstra Hillel, the Center for Jewish Life on campus, has been serving the Hofstra community. Thousands of students of all backgrounds have participated in our weekly classes, travel programs, service projects, and holiday celebrations. Especially now, when students need us most, please support.
At 125 pounds for Edinboro and Junior.
Good evening and welcome back to either the Hofstra Pride YouTube channel or the Hofstra Alternative web channel. Tonight, your Hofstra Pride take on the Fighting Scots of Edinboro University. We are going to start right away tonight at 125 pounds. We have Dylan Acevedo Switzer against...
That's Caleb
Edwards. Yes. I'm Olivia Hilstead, joined by Peter Nicolino. And Peter, take it away.
Of course, so Ryder and Edwards right now starting it off. Nothing to see in an advantage just yet. Although heading into this one, Ryder seems to be the favorite, ranked number 11th in the EIWA Flow rankings.
So this is going to be Dylan Acevedo. Actually, Ryder will be moving up a weight class from his normal 125 pounds up to 133. For this dual meet, which he also did earlier this week against Morgan State and Bloomsburg, looking to fill in 133, which Hofstra has seen a couple of changes at that weight class.
Acevedo nearly pushing Edwards, and he does. So they're going to have to go back to the middle in this one. Acevedo 1-6 on the season so far, so looking for his second win on the year. Edwards is surely a competitor who is capable of giving him that second win. Just about 2 minutes left in this first period. No points awarded for either side so far.
The Fighting Scots are coming in to this dual meet today, fresh off of a dual meet against LIU. Literally just a couple hours ago, they lost 3-29 against LIU. So a lot of these guys are on their second match of the evening. Quick turnaround. We'll see if that has any impact. Edwards did wrestle earlier today, where he lost by decision. Most of Edinboro's losses were by decision, and with their only win at 133 pounds from Brenneman, who won by decision.
Acevedo tried twice for the single leg, didn't get it on either one, so Edwards with the strong defensive showing so far in this opening matchup. 125 is usually the quicker of the weight classes, and both guys have shown that thus far, although neither are able to be awarded any sort of a takedown whatsoever. Edwards tried it again. He's not going to get it. And Acevedo, no, they won't say he's out. None they will. Almost looked like they were going to let him duke it out right on the edge, but they'll return to the center mat.
Acevedo, the junior, lost wrestle-offs to returner Dylan Ryder earlier in the season, but like we've said, there's been some changes in the weight classes, and Acevedo has been filling in at 125 with Ryder moving up a weight class, and seemed to be working with Acevedo getting a win over Bloomsburg earlier this week, or over Morgan State earlier this week.
Acevedo doing a lot of pushing, one might say, as he just loses control. Both in the scrum down. Looks like Edwards has something he's working with here. And Acevedo gets out of it.
There's a couple of seconds left in this first period. We're going to pause for something.
Looks like it's a medical checkup. Don't know if there's any blood on the mat. Looks to be Acevedo's nose. And from where I can see a bit of red, so it looks like that's a blood timeout.
Hofstra comes into this duel 2-2 on the season with losses from the Ohio State University and Penn State University, two tough opponents, and then wins earlier this week over Morgan State and Bloomsburg. The Fighting Scots come into this match having just lost to LIU after having beat Sacred Heart earlier in the week and had losses also against Ohio State and against Rutgers earlier this season.
You know, I had the opportunity to talk to Nick Miller, who we'll be seeing a little bit later. Nick, when I asked about him, about the two losses against Penn State and Ohio State, he said it's such a different environment playing in front of 1,000, 2,000 people. It's such a new thing that he's never been a part of, but he's very happy to have that sort of a learning experience.
Mm-hmm.
We're just about to be, I'd say we're about 30 seconds away from returning to this right now. Medical professionals and staff cleaned up the blood off of the mat, and looks like Acevedo's nose has stopped bleeding. So we're going to be underway in just about, I'd say, 10-15 seconds, or they're going to wipe it down another time. And this introductory match will continue, still standing at no points for either side. Just 6 seconds left in the first period, so you'll only get about 6 seconds of something happening, and then we will go to either top or bottom.
Round of applause for Sam, the athletic trainer. Great guy.
3, 2, 1. Trying for the single leg at the last second, not going to work. So we'll go into the second period with no points being awarded to either side.
Edinboro selects bottom.
Edwards is going to select bottom in this one, trying to get some sort of a points in the escape. Let's see how well that plan works out for him.
Edwards is currently 1-9 on the season. Last season he was 3-11 overall.
And it looks like Ryder's going to get something here. Edwards not able to make the escape. Acevedo trying not to let Edwards get up. He did. Still trying to regain control, and no, Edwards gets the one for the escape. So your first points of the day come from a Caleb Edwards escape. He gets the single leg. Trying to get Acevedo off his balance, and he does. And Acevedo turns the tables on him. Trying to get that hand clap. He's not going to get it. Looks like Edwards has control at this point. No points being awarded for any sort of a takedown just yet. No back points either. Edwards now in control. Edwards, he's got him on his chest. Acevedo trying to have that low center of gravity, staying close to the mat as quick as possible. Nothing yet. Edwards slowly inching his way up.
30 seconds.
He's going to change positioning now, and it looks like Acevedo trying to get up. He's got one knee on the ground. And he gets to his feet, and he does. He stands up. Great escape. But he's slammed down by Edwards. Edwards still has control here, and he regains it with that. They're both towards the end of the mat. And at the edge, and that's when they'll be pushed out. So a great push by both sides. Edwards eventually getting the takedown points, making it 4-0. And still it looks like Acevedo will try to make his way out of the control starting at the bottom. This is his opportunity to get his first points on the board, and that's going to end the second period.
Acevedo's made some really big jumps from last season. The wrestle-offs we saw him compete against Dylan Ryder, of course, lost that match, but Ryder coming in as far more experienced, older wrestler. But as we were saying, Acevedo has made some really big strides, and so having him be the starter at 125 is not, it's completely different than if we had seen him last year. So currently still working on that stand-up here, trying to get some points on the board.
Acevedo right now 4-26 in his career at Hofstra. And we're going to have another stoppage here. Not too clear yet on what that would be. It looks like athletic trainer is going to have to go to Acevedo again. So that nose might have opened up for a second time in this matchup.
You know, it's not a bad time to take a pause. Think about what he's going to do in this third period. Minute and 42 seconds left.
No, that's right. He can talk to Papadopoulos. Papadopoulos can give him an update on what he wants to do. Maybe he sees something, almost something wrong in Edwards' plan thus far, and that can be the turning table. That can be what changes his entire matchup. Still, it's only 4-0.
See all the coaches up there: Papadopoulos, Cody Russell, Charles Small. Papadopoulos just went and sat next to Ernest James, who actually was coaching at Edinboro until this year, and his alma mater is actually Edinboro. He wrestled for 4 years.
Well, with that kind of information and that kind of experience with Edinboro, you'd hope and you'd only assume that he brings some sort of an inside scoop to this Hofstra Pride wrestling team. So I'm sure Papadopoulos was talking to him all this week, trying to pick his brain as much as he possibly could.
Going into this match, Hofstra really hasn't seen Edinboro much in competitions recently at all. The last time the two teams met was December of 2019, where the Pride lost 12-26.
And we are back on. Looks like Acevedo, trying. He's got a better chance of escaping this time. He gets to his feet, and he's out. That's the one. Sounded like a couple of the other members, and they'll finally get out of bounds. So a little bit of fight coming out of Dylan Acevedo late in this third period. Still got 3 points to overcome to make sure Edinboro doesn't get the start.
He did a good job getting out before riding time was over a minute, so that's not going to be a factor in this. If he gets the takedown, then they would go to overtime.
That's right. Still has to worry about that 1 minute of riding time. It's at 56 at this point, but anything can happen, and it only takes 4 seconds for Edwards to get an extra point here. Seems to be the least of his worries thus far, because he's got 45 seconds to make some sort of a comeback and tie us up at 4.
Stop again for presumably blood.
I'm not sure what the max amount of stoppages you can have in a match is, but
I believe there's a blood clock. I'm not sure what it is in college, I'll be honest. I think Acevedo's still fine on time, so.
Seems to be that, but it's interesting to note, is that based off of, like, entire time of your entire stoppage, or is that one time? So if I stop one time and I have to stop for a full minute and a half,
so
does that?
In high school, because I volunteer coach for high school when I'm not here, there's blood time, which is a certain stipulated amount of time, and then there's injury time. And so if you just can't get your blood to stop, you can go into injury time and have quite a few minutes to recover whatever issue it is. I've never seen that be a factor in a college match. Normally injuries are, you're either done or you get back in eventually, as we saw here.
Acevedo, a lot more energy right now. It seems he realizes the type of situation he is in. It's about 25 seconds left in the first match of this meet today as he pushes Edwards out of bounds, but that's going to send them back to center mat. 20 seconds left. Aceveto's got a little bit of gas in the reserve here. He's really pushing here, and it looks like Edwards read into his plan. Playing hard on the offensive, as that's what he needs right now. 10 seconds left. Going to count you down as he's got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now last second takedown is awarded to Edwards. So the last second takedown goes to the guy who didn't always need it. So that's going to end your first match at 125. Caleb Edwards defeats Dylan Acevedo 7-1.
With that win by decision, Edinboro will be up 3-0 against the Pride. And we will move to 133 pounds, where Dylan Ryder will, of course, he's bumping up a weight class. He'll take on Jacob Brenneman, the freshman who is 8-8 on the season. He, of course, he was the only one to win against LIU earlier today. Won that match 9-6.
So it's the senior Dylan Ryder, who has a career of 48-26 at Hofstra, going up against the young freshman and Jacob Brenneman with an only 8-8 record on the year. First year here at Edinboro, going up against the obviously more experienced Ryder. Ryder made his return to Hofstra after a departure of about a year and a half.
Two seasons.
2 seasons, as he has been one of the most anticipated wrestlers on this team this year.
Ryder, of course, has had a very strong showing so far. Wins over ranked guys, multiple pins. He just looks solid. Earlier this week against Morgan State and Bloomsburg, he, of course, got a win by technical fall and a pin. So just really solid in this lineup for the Pride. So moving up to 133 doesn't seem to have made an impact. From a size perspective, he looks fine. So see how this match goes for him.
That's right. It looks like Brenneman has the reach advantage, but I think Ryder absolutely still within the size of Brenneman. No points awarded just yet, although Brenneman has control of that left leg, and Ryder switches it to control of Brenneman's right leg.
Ryder's really good in this position. He uses a wizard like no wrestler I've ever seen before, as he sets up
He's got a pin.
great
3-point takedown. He's going to get some back points here.
Like I said, Ryder uses a wizard like no other wrestler I've really seen. He's gotten in this position multiple times, scored off of this position.
1 minute.
Ryder gets the first takedown for the Pride so far today. Gets the 3 against Brenneman, and almost looked like he had more control, and that's going to be 4 back points awarded after that initial takedown. So a 7-point advantage right now for Ryder, as he'll get control as well with 52 seconds left in the first period. Ryder quickly converts to
Nice.
Sitting on the mat himself.
Armbar in half there. He's going to go for the pin, or at least set up a nice tilt. Ryder historically is very tough on top. It'd be nice for the Pride to start getting some points on the board early.
He's got 4 pins on the year, trying to make it 5 against Brenneman. The number 11 ranked in Flow Sports EIWA 125 wrestler in Ryder. Brenneman putting up a good fight in the attempt in the escape of the pin, although Ryder still has a majority of the control right now. And that's going to do it for the first period. Trying to confer with Papadopoulos on what he'd like, and he's going to use the bottom and just get that additional points, trying to make it 8 with the escape. The quick escape didn't work as well as he had thought, but he's still got the energy and he's still on his feet. Now slapped down to the center. Ryder trying to out-muscle Brenneman, and he does. He stands up, and he gets out. So that's going to make it 8 points for Dylan Ryder, still 0 points for Jacob Brenneman.
Ryder went unscored upon in the Morgan State and Bloomsburg duels earlier this week. Completely dominated his matches. Anticipate to see that again here, truly.
Ryder knows how to play to the competition, even bolstering a win against Robert Howard, the number 20 ranked 125 wrestler over at Penn State. That was
one of 3 guys to win in that Penn State duel. Ryder winning, Tapia winning, Kluver winning. We'll see them later tonight.
And it looks like that's going to be 3 for Brenneman. So clawing his way back the best he can.
It was an interesting situation there. Not sure what.
And the escape. Still the 6-point advantage with that escape. Ryder still needs to worry, as he knows Brenneman is more than capable of scoring the takedown. Great defense by Ryder. As he loses control of his leg.
Going to try to set up that same position he set up earlier in this match, but it's not going to be enough time.
That'll be the end of the second 6-point advantage for Dylan Ryder at this point.
Edinboro splits neutral.
Interesting move by Edinboro. He's got to get those takedowns as quickly as possible. He's got 2 minutes to do so, and he didn't think getting the 1-point escape was going to do him what he needed.
Like I said, Ryder is known for being pretty tough on top, so not a bad decision, and considering Brenneman has gotten a takedown in this match already. Probably thinks he can do it again. Ryder, of course, is going to look to get his own, at least a takedown, to get a major decision victory.
Another single leg by Brenneman.
So he's going to look to set up what he did earlier in this match, using the wizard, getting behind the leg. This is, of course, how he beat Robert Howard of Penn State earlier this season.
No points awarded just yet. Ryder trying to pull that wizard, and he's going to get a pin here right now. He's got nothing.
But now, good work by Ryder getting out of that difficult position. A little bit risky there. Looks like the refs didn't award any points for that maneuver. It's okay, he can still working around where he's at right now. They call a stalemate though, and they'll go back to neutral and reset.
So the stalemate is in the advantage of Dylan Ryder. He's got 45 seconds to just make sure 6 points aren't awarded to Brenneman. He's going to need to try to play the long game here and just make sure the time runs out the best he can. Just now hitting 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
So Dylan Ryder, the advantage on his side, also with 36 seconds of riding time, so doesn't need to worry about that.
Good showing by Brenneman, though, today with the win over LIU. Brenneman, 4-time Maryland State champ, true freshman.
10 seconds.
Wrestling against his senior today.
And that's gonna do it. Dylan Ryder hands Hofstra its first victory in the Edinboro dual meet.
Dylan Ryder, 133 pounds, by the final of 9-3.
9-3 is your final here at the 133 weight division. Ties the match at 3 apiece for both Edinboro and Hofstra. Popdaudos happy with the matchup there by Dylan Ryder.
They'll move to 141 pounds, where we'll have Alex Turley against Anthony Ferraro, freshman who is 2-6 on the season, also wrestled earlier today against LIU. Turley, of course, filling in for 141 with Justin Hoyle out currently.
So it'll be interesting to see Turley in his opportunity here. Turley, number 17th ranked wrestler in the 141 division by Flow Sports. That's in the EIWA division, by the way. Turley breaks away from it. He's got center mat, so it looks like advantage is on his side, trying to push around Anthony Ferraro. Going for the single. He's got the ankle, and he's trying to put Ferraro on his back. Remains in control of that leg. He's got Ferraro in a tough position here.
No points. Turley's gonna. Well, we're gonna go to a stalemate. Reset. Turley is a sophomore. Ferraro, of course, true freshman. Looks like the Fighting Scots have a similar lineup to the Pride. Lots of new guys, younger guys making the starters.
Now the advantage is on the edge of Ferraro. Turley upside down, trying to regain control. He's got Ferraro by the waist, and he quickly changes the positioning. And right back to where we were before. Staying in control, he's got both arms to his sides. Excuse me, got his left arm to his side. Right arm of Ferraro is out. And
I was just going to say, you got to be careful in that position. That was called for potentially dangerous. We've seen guys get dropped on their head there. It's a risky spot, but we've also seen the guys work through that exact position. And so we'll probably see it again here. Ferraro tries to come out the back, tries to isolate a leg on Turley. Turley holding on to the ankle, making it difficult. That might be potentially dangerous on the knee there for Ferraro. We will see the ref.
And they're going to give 3 to Edinboro on that one. Ferraro gets the quick advantage in this one with a minute left in the first period. He's trying to get more here as the sophomore Turley gets himself in a dangerous position now.
Turley had 2 wins earlier this week, both by decision. One 11-3 over Morgan State and one 2-1 against Bloomsburg.
The sophomore out of St. Louis, Missouri, trying to claw his way back. He's now in the 3-point disadvantage, just 30 seconds left in the first period. Still anybody's matchup as he quickly changes the positioning in his favor.
Still trying to work around for that reversal. Watching that knee again.
10 seconds.
Ferraro.
And that'll be no change because no escape was awarded. So we'll stay at 3-0.
And that'll do it for the first period. You're right, Olivia. A couple of instances of potentially dangerous maneuvers by, it looked like it was Turley on all 3 occasions, as he'll get top in this one, trying not to allow the 1-point escape by Anthony Ferraro. And Ferraro quickly got his way back to his feet, and he'll get the 1. So now at a 4-point disadvantage is Alex Turley.
Already a better showing by Ferraro, who earlier tonight lost 1-0 against his LIU opponent. See, once again gets in this position, trying to work out the back, trying to isolate a leg by Turley. Turley really hanging on to the ankle.
Turley's control of that ankle is what's keeping him afloat right now, as Ferraro, they'll call for a stalemate. Well, I'm sorry, that might have been potentially dangerous.
That position, it really, generally, whoever wins is whoever has their hips higher is in control. The position, these guys have kind of gone back and forth, who's really in control, worked through some difficult scrambles, but even though the score is 4-0, I would say they've been pretty even in their scoring attempts so far.
Just a minute left, just under a minute left in this second period. I'd say we're about halfway through this matchup if it goes all three. Still only a 4-point edge for Edinboro. Alex Tilley trying to put his first points on the board as they'll reset, and he'll shoot for that leg, but it's not going to work. Great defense there by Ferraro.
And that'll be a stall warning on Turley.
30 seconds.
Ref signaled a few seconds ago. Backing out, avoiding action.
Turley, he's 8-11 in his Hofstra career. Right now he's 4-7 on the year. He just ended up beating Tommy Ferrero of Morgan State and Michael Cassidy of Bloomsburg. Looks like he's got a tougher competitor here in Ferraro as he's got the 4-point edge. Turley needs to put some points on the board, so he's going to choose bottom and trying to get that 1-4 escape. It worked well for Ferraro in the second period. Let's see if he can do the same for Turley. Turley in a worse position than he put Ferraro in earlier. A way worse position as Ferraro takes a lot of control here. Turley really needs to worry about this one here. If he's awarded another takedown, that this matchup is really not within his grasp.
Turley trying to build to his base. Ferraro gets Ferraro's leg out, should make it significantly easier. Though not a lot of action. Ferraro, the true freshman from Valencia, PA, placed.
And Turley is slammed down. Still in control, Anthony Ferraro. He's just a minute to go to hold out. Only a 4-point lead as great escape there. Control is shifted to Turley. And he'll get the 1-point escape. So only needs 3 at this point, with 35 seconds left in his match.
Well, a takedown won't be enough with the riding time over 2 minutes here, but I think Turley needs to go for it. Either way.
Trying to make anything happen. Turley, bit of a second wind here as he's pushing and realizes this game could be within his grasp.
And that'll be a stall warning on Ferraro. So another one of those, and that'll be a point.
10 seconds.
So with
for the single, he's got 5 seconds. Doesn't look like he'll have enough time. 2-1, and that'll do it. But they'll give a 3 again right at the end. So another 7-1 loss for Hofstra on a last-second takedown.
make that 8-1 with the riding time.
8-1.
And that'll move the Fighting Scots up 6-3 against the Pride. Moving to 149 pounds, we have Noah Tapia against Colin Roberts, the sophomore. Tapia, of course, the freshman. Had a great season so far.
Tapia has been great for the Pride thus far. Right now standing at 13th in the EIWA, ranked by the EIWA themselves. WrestleStat has him 32nd nationally. So Tapia bringing a lot of potential to this Hofstra team in his first year.
Tapia's big win, of course, over number 14, Jordan Williams of Oklahoma State at the Cleve King Invitational. Tapia also won a match against Penn State. It's big for the Pride. Against Morgan State, he won another match, major decision, but then lost a match in overtime against Bloomsburg earlier this week. I chalk that up to being a freshman.
And that victory against Oklahoma State's Jordan Williams came via a last-minute escape, so ended up winning that 12-11. Hopefully we don't have to see that slim of a victory out of Tapia today, but hey, any victory will do.
Already a stall warning on Roberts. Tapia quick, start working on his working on his attacks. So uses that front headlock to get around.
Great speed out of Tapia. He's got him on the ground. That's going to be 3. Tapia looks to get more here.
Tapia is just such a dynamic wrestler, always looking for shots, always working through these difficult positions. Roberts earlier today lost match 2-11. So all of these, all of Edinboro's guys are coming into today's duel having wrestled earlier today against LIU, gone all 3 periods, some gone 1 or 2 into overtime actually, so they might be feeling it.
With the escape, Roberts makes it a 3-1 matchup here. Just about under a minute and a half left in this first period. Right now the advantage, of course, going to Noah Tapia. Nothing yet. Tapia, although known to make things happen quite quickly. An explosive one at the 149 division.
Tapia 5-8 on the season so far. Of course, getting his win against Jordan Williams, as well as a win over Connor Pierce of Penn State, one of the 3 guys to win in that Penn State duel. That was a 11-2 major decision win for Tapia.
He's 2-2 in his dual meets so far this year. His 2 losses coming from Penn State and Ohio State, with his Penn State. Sorry.
And Bloomsburg. Yes.
And Bloomsburg.
Bloomsburg, that was a loss in overtime, 5-2. Overtime is a difficult position, especially your first time as a freshman. It's just a part of his record at this point.
By the way, good to see that sort of an experience for the young freshman to have early in his career, and one could only hope is a bright career here at Hofstra. Still 3-1 at the advantage to Tapia. Hofstra is down a match. It is 3-6 in favor of Edinboro. Tapia gets the point for escape, so he'll be up one takedown's worth. Great defense by Tapia. Stopped that shoot the best he could. As he's got an arm and a leg here. Trying to get that clasp, trying to get him onto his back. Tapia at the edge of the mat here. He's in great positioning. Roberts really needs to worry about where he is.
You can hear Cody Russell telling him to let go of the cradle and just get around. See if he listens to his coach here.
As Russell escapes, intelligently shooting to the end of the mat. And a stall point will be awarded because he shot outwards. So Tapia ends up coming away with something in that great attempt. Just about a minute left in this second period, as Tapia attempts to tie up this score in this dual meet against Edinboro.
Tapia so far this season has had quite a few wins by decision, some losses by major decision.
As they're pushed out of bounds.
So far, 1 loss by technical fall, 1 loss by fall. He has not won by technical fall or by pin, so we'll see if he can make that happen today. That would be exciting for him.
Still looking for his first tech fall of the year, as the same with the pin. Both, I'd say, are within reach. Only 25 seconds left in the second period. If he makes something really happen in the third, maybe, who knows?
The 3-point takedown definitely makes tech falls a lot more attainable for these guys. It's been a big change this season. Earlier this season, Papadoto said he didn't think it really make a difference. I think it's made a huge difference. These tech falls are coming fast. They're coming a lot earlier, a lot easier to these guys. So
that'll do it for the second period. Tapia with the 5-point advantage against Edinboro's Colin Roberts.
Roberts, a sophomore out of Youngstown, Ohio. did not compete last season. Competed in 3 matches his redshirt year. Finished the season 1-2.
1 point escape, Edinboro.
1 point escape is awarded to Roberts as he'll try and claw his way back. A minute and 40 left in this 149 matchup. Tapia in a tough position now. Roberts shot for the leg and almost got it, but he'll stop it now. Quickly regains control. Tapia, great defensive showing on that one. Tapia trying to play the long game here. That's all he's got to do. Although they got to be worried about a stall warning again. Already a 1 point stall warning awarded to Tapia after Roberts shot outwards trying to escape.
Working a little upper body here. We know Tapia is comfortable in that position. Wrestled Greco freestyle back in high school. State champion coming out of Illinois. 2-time runner-up. Joins the Pride with some good experience as his headgear flies off.
Offense in the worst ways by Colin Roberts as Tapia has to reset his headgear. Looked like a couple of pieces came off on that one.
And those are tough to fix, so we might be here a minute. Just means they're doing some heavy hand fighting, some good work.
Good defense by Tapia and sacrificing his headgear instead of his point advantage. So I'd say I'm pretty impressed with the freshman regardless.
Happens to the best of us.
5'7" coming out of Moline, Illinois. He's got about 34 seconds before he can come away with a victory. If he can play defense long enough for that, then he's tied up this one for the Pride as he'll have to go to Papadatos to get this one to fix. So, hey, let's go to Coach. Maybe Coach knows. He's been around long enough to fix something like this, right?
These are particularly difficult types of headgear. I've fixed a few of these my time, but looks like Papadatos.
Papadatos got that in about what was that, 8 seconds?
Yeah,
something like that. Either way, he's been around the block a few times. He knows what he's doing.
This is, of course, his 10th season here with the Pride. Brought on a whole new coaching staff this season. Like we said, Charles Small returning from his alma mater to help coach. Cody Russell from Appalachian State, and Ernest James from Edinboro coming here.
That's right, a product of Ohio State's great coach Tom Ryan, a coach we had faced earlier in the year in the Ohio State meet. Yours truly and Olivia following that one as well. As Tapia in a worse position he's ever been so far today. They're quickly pushed out of bounds. That wasted 14 seconds off the clock. And Tapia's got to be happy he's back to the center. A second win here by Colin Roberts, trying to get his way back. He's down by 4. 8 seconds left to go. Tapia just needs to hold out with 5, 3, 2, 1, and that'll do it. Tying us up at 6 apiece is Noah Tapia.
Good work by the freshman. This could end up being a pretty even duel, which will be a little bit interesting. Coming back from competition at 157 today, Jarius Clark, as he'll take on Stefan Lynch, freshman, who's currently 1-6 on the season. Lynch, the only guy who did not wrestle earlier today, with Kemmerer wrestling at 157 for Edinboro against LIU. He is out for injury, and so Lynch will step up. Lynch moving up a weight class from 149 to take on Clark at 157.
Jarius Clark having quite the successful year for the Pride thus far. He's 7-2 on the year. He's won his last 5 matches. That's against Bloomsburg, Morgan State, a couple of Bloomsburg, excuse me. two North Carolina states. So some pretty respectable wins from Clark here. He placed first in the 157 division in the Journeyman Classic Pride had earlier this year. They had a couple of guys place in that one. So head coach Dennis Papadopoulos has to be very happy with the showing in that Journeyman Classic. Let's see if Jarius Clark can do it again here today.
Clark was out for the Cleve Kane Invitational and for the Penn State Duel, but he's back to competition and has gotten his wins for the Pride so far with the dual meet wins earlier this week, as Peter said.
So Stefan Lynch, a last-minute replacement for Clark, as they're pushed out of bounds. Still no points on the board so far today for either side. It's about a minute and a half left in the first period. Both Clark and Lynch having quite the scuffle in an evenly matched one.
Both pretty young guys again. Clark, sophomore. Lynch, true freshman. Lynch coming out of Northeast PA. Clark out of Blackwood, New Jersey. And will stop for potentially dangerous there as they get into quite the odd position with the arms there.
That's right, and I could see Clark kind of mouthed "my bad" to Lynch on that one. Although I'm not a pro at reading lips. I just think I'm pretty good at that. The shoot works pretty well as both are locked in. Still on their feet, although just under a minute left to go in this first period. Great escape by Clark, as don't know if he's out just yet. With control of the leg, Lynch finally pushed out of bounds. Lynch had Clark in a tough spot with that one. Still, they'll remain in neutral position.
We're seeing some good speed from both these guys. Good defense, good reaction time.
30 seconds.
Locked in the stalemate. No, they'll change positioning. Clark trying to throw him, as no. They'll be pushed more towards the edge of the mat as Clark.
Lynch did a good job there, falling into that position, going for the ankle, forcing this scramble to happen.
And that'll do it for the second period. Excuse me, for the first period. We're going to be in the second period now.
Pretty dynamic match so far. This has been
not the match those had expected for fans of Jarius Clark here.
He is still coming back after taking some time off earlier this week in his Morgan State duel. Of course, won by major decision, and won in his Bloomsburg match, just regular decision, 5-1. So he's still getting back into this competition.
Clark, good control here. Best control he's had all day. As it looks like Lynch is going to try and change it as they're throwing still. Got good control over a couple of arms.
Clark's got to try to stay low on that leg ride. Edinboro coaches were saying he was a little bit high right now as he's trying to get some back points here with the tilt.
Is he going to get some back points here now? That's 3, 4. He's going to get 4 back points there.
Now he's a little bit high on this ride. We'll see if Lynch, if he works out of that difficult position there as they go out.
And that'll do it. First points for the 157 matchup come with just under a minute left in the second period. 4 points for back points awarded to Jarius Clark.
Lynch almost was able to get Clark's head, pull himself out of this position, but once as Clark goes right back to that leg ride, there's a difficult position to work out of. Clark trying to stay under the arms, not let himself get too high this time.
Clark gonna go for what he had before. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And he'll get him in a similar position now.
30 seconds.
Arm wrapped around that neck, it looks like. It worked for him in the last one, got him 4. And he'll quickly change positions here. Just about 15 seconds left in this second period. Clark, 4-point advantage, trying to give Hofstra the advantage in the match. It's tied at 6 apiece for the meet in total. And that'll do it for the second period. Darius Clark heads into period number 3.
Hofstra selects bottom.
And he'll go on the bottom, trying to make it 5 with the escape.
After this, it'll be the halfway mark of this duel. Of course, there's an even 10 weight classes. Clark gets a great reversal there for 2, put himself up 6-0. 10 weight classes. So the Pride will look to get some bonus point victories to really set them apart.
Strong reversal there by Clark, trying to tap on a few more as he's got Lynch in a good position, trying to stay in the center of the mat to prolong this scuffle at the bottom long he can. Just under a minute and a half to go. Clark still in a good position now, as we're just about to hit a minute left in the third period. No points awarded other than a stall warning. 6-point advantage for Clark, doing his best to shut out his opponent now. Darius, he's 2-0 in dual meets so far this year, and an 8-10 record in his Hofstra career.
Clark so far 7-2 this season, getting wins by mostly decisions, 1 tech fall.
30 seconds.
He'll look to ride out the rest of this match, possibly get some bad points here, but will not cut Lynch and look for the major decision.
1-point escape for Lynch, it looks like, so Clark will not shut out, as he'll get another 3 with 5 seconds left, making it 9-1. Darius, great last-minute showing. That's going to give some extra points for the Pride.
That was great. That was really great to see.
With the minute of riding time, makes it 10-1. That'll give 4 for the Pride instead of the 3 we've been seeing all day. Great showing by Darius Clark. Could be the edge the Pride need later on today.
Nice major decision victory there. As we move to 165 pounds, looks like it'll be freshman Jake Slotnick for the Pride against Max Kirby, the sophomore for Edinboro. Kirby lost earlier today as well, 2-8.
First dual meet for Slotnick so far this year. Slotnick has an opportunity to really show what he can do to head coach Papadatos. As that's going to be 3, showing what he can right there. Slotnick gets himself the easy takedown, as he'll get a 3-point advantage and control as they return to center mat.
Slotnick currently 3-3 on the season, having some wins at a win at the Princeton Open and a couple of wins at the Journeyman Classic. Hasn't seen competition since then, but another one of the part of this really talented freshman class that the Pride has brought in this season. Papadatos has called them the best freshman recruiting class he's ever had. They're extremely talented. He's the 3rd freshman in this lineup. We'll see Will Conlon later tonight, but so much to look forward to with these guys.
The escape point makes it a 3-1 matchup. It is just about 2 minutes. 3-point takedown awarded So the advantage is lost by Slotnick. Kirby, great change of pace in favor of Edinboro.
Kirby, a sophomore out of Fairless, Ohio. Like we said, pretty young roster for Edinboro as well.
Still with the control, Kirby trying to tack on a few more.
Slotnick's got the ankle, but like I said earlier, he's got to get his hips higher in order to get something to work. Now he's getting set up for a cradle. We'll see if he can work out of this. He's got to get his knee away from his head here. It's still locked up. He's doing a good job rolling through, not letting him get stuck on his back. But he's really got to break this lock in order to make something happen. Right on the edge of the mat, but they're still in. Still a point of contact. Really got to break this lock. And he does. And
Great move by Slotnick.
He'll get his reversal. He's got the crowd on his feet, on the feet.
The reversal makes it a back and forth. He's got the 1 point advantage, making it 5-4.
I think the energy has really gone up after Clark's win.
Clark may just have set this Pride team the momentum they had needed to come away with a victory, although we've got a lot to go left today. Slotnick will stay on top. Gotta be worried about this kind of a escape. As an early jump there by Kirby, no. Slotnick will slam him down. 20 seconds left in the first period. As Slotnick will tack on some riding time now. No, he's going to be
10 seconds.
Working down riding
working
time.
down some riding time in his advantage, trying to even it out. And that'll do it for the first period. 1 point advantage for Slotnick at this one.
Hofstra selects ball.
He'll take bottom to start in this pretty high-scoring match. Just the first period done. Like we said, Slotnick 3-3 on this season. Picked up 1 win at the Princeton Open, 2 at the Journeyman Classic.
Slotnick in a tough position here. Gotta be worried about losing his control. Great shift there by Slotnick. Gets the 2 for a reversal.
Great reversal. Followed the momentum. Went with the flow. Adjusted where he needed to. Perfect timing. It's impressive stuff.
So a second reversal by Slotnick. As they'll get the 1 for escape. Kirby makes it a 7-5 matchup. 2 point advantage for Slotnick here as he shifts and gets the single leg. Got him on the ground. Kirby trying to stay in control as he's shifting it.
Slotnick just needs to climb the body, take his time, keeps his hips down. Kirby trying to work under the arms, lift him. Slotnick just takes his time, lifts the legs. There we go.
And that'll be 3 there for Slotnick. Makes it a 5 point advantage as he'll do what he can to just slap on more.
He's got a nice Turk here. We'll see if he uses it. Nice crossface or a nice half. He's in a great scoring position. He's making it very difficult for Kirby to build his base if he keeps that leg. He's elevating right now.
Yeah,
great crossface.
Had a nice pinfall in his last matchup. That was to place second in the Journeyman Classic. That came over a month ago on November 12th. So after a month of not seeing the mat, Slotnick comes back fighting.
We've seen a lot of changes at 157 and 165 for the Pride. We knew going into this season that there would be some adjustments. Eric Schindel, of course, won the match at 165 to be the starter, but looks like after some of his performances, Papadopoulos is willing to try out some different guys. Matt Rogers floating around there, Grayson Harris floating around there. He got an exhibition match against Bloomsburg earlier this week, but was not the starter. Joe McGinty, of course, the starter for the Morgan State and Bloomsburg duels, lost both of his matches, the only member of the Pride to lose 2 matches earlier this week. I anticipate that's why he's not the starter here today.
Kirby awarded the 1-point escape, but a star warning is sent to Slotnick, so he's got to be worried about Kirby clawing his way back for reasons he could have controlled. Good single-leg shoot by Slotnick. He's got Kirby on the ground here, trying to remain in that low center of gravity. And a 3-point takedown is awarded. Makes it 13-6. It looks like Slotnick will be running away with this one. Just has to make sure no critical mistakes are made. Jake Slotnick coming back hard in his month of not seeing the mat. Slotnick in the position to make it a major decision, which would be really great for the Pride after Darius Clark able to do so in his 10-1 victory.
Kirby gets up for the 1 escape, but Small and Papados telling Slotnick, let's get one more takedown, really secure.
If he can get the takedown and get 4 seconds of riding time as well, he can get another point for that.
Beautiful single. He just needs to work around at this point. Great defense by Kirby. Like we said, pretty dynamic match as Slotnick gets around.
And that'll get the 3 they had hoped for, as he's got over a minute of riding time as well. So great positioning for Slotnick and great positioning for the Pride. Papadopoulos, I'm sure, happy with what he can see so far.
Always yelling about something as they work out. I believe it's 16-7 right now. I will be getting glasses over winter break. Part of my to-do list.
I'm going to flex on you here. I've worn contacts since the 4th grade. Slotnick.
Oh, it is 16-7. I just checked the stream. We're good.
Still in control. About 5 seconds left in this matchup. Slotnick just needs to remain in control, as that'll do it. The Hofstra Pride cheering him on. Pride faithful. Great showing here by friends and family and wrestling fans alike. Gets another 4 points for the Pride in the major decision victory. Makes it 14-6.
Before we move over to 174 pounds, little side note for the rest of the Pride's schedule this season. They will be at the Franklin and Marshall Open on January 5th, and then they will be home again right here in the Mac Physical Education Center as they take on North Carolina State on Sunday, January 7th. We will not be with you, but someone will be. If you're around Hempstead, come by, watch these guys take on another top 10 team. And then they'll be home again in January on the 27th against LIU, and we will be here. Moving to 174 pounds, we have Ross McFarland, starter for the Pride, as he takes on Joey Arnold, senior for Edinboro.
Great move there by McFarland. Ross McFarland, an aggressive start thus far. I'd say he's shown more energy than any of the earlier guys, which is interesting to see this late in the 174 division. McFarland, a more explosive start so far. It looks like he wants to make quick work of Arnold, as he's going to get a couple of back points here, and that'll be 4 for him. And no, that'll be the pin. Quick pinfall for Ross McFarland, makes an absolute mockery. Joey Arnold going down in just about 57 seconds. I'd say the quick under a minute takedown and pinfall by Ross McFarland. Great showing by him.
That was great. McFarland really showed his seniority on the team. He's a captain. He's been around the block. Wanted to get that win for the Pride. Great work. I didn't even get to talk about his wins earlier this week. So.
No. So a disrespectful move by McFarland, not giving us enough time to talk about how great he's been. He instead showed us how great he's been as he makes quick work, because he's still running around the gym.
As we move to 184 pounds, we have freshman Will Conlon against Edinboro's Brody Evans, also a freshman.
We saw Conlon earlier this year in the Ohio State matchup in what I have to say was an impressive match. Of course, Pride ended up losing 51-0, but Conlon looked like he had a good showing, the freshman, getting his first dual meet of the year. And it's tough to be in the position that Conlon was in. His first dual meet of his college career was against a nationally ranked Ohio State wrestler.
That's tough, but Conlon, like Tappy, has shown some really great promise, really great things. Conlon really goes out there, goes for the takedown early, is always working through positions. I've been very impressed. In the practice room, he looks great, going against these older guys bigger than him, smaller than him. He's up for the competition, up for the fight.
Conlon looks like he's also bolstering a bit of a black eye, which is pretty common right now in the wrestling world, but able to fight through it. Great fight there by Conlon. Still no points awarded for either side, as we're just about to be 1 minute and 45 seconds left in the first period.
Conlon 5-7 on the season earlier this week.
Oh, great spin move there by by Brody Evans.
Had 2 wins by decision as they go out of bounds.
Looked like it was going to be a smart swim move there by Brody Evans. Conlon able to get a great parry on that end. Pride up 20-6 in the meet itself against Edinboro. Conlon trying to widen that margin here. They're up by 14. Still 0 points awarded for either side in this 184 weight division matchup.
Back to Ross McFarland here briefly. That was his second pin of the season. He had just won a match by pin against Bloomsburg, and that was his 6th win to put him at 6-4 this season.
Great move by Conlon. He'll take control as they are pushed out of bounds. Conlon looks to get a couple of words from Papadatos. Hopefully he gave him something he can use. Papadatos, and it looks like Conlon's going to shoot for the leg here and try and push him off balance. Just got to take the other leg. Conlon not going to let go of that leg whatsoever. He's just going to try and sweep the other one. Not going to work. Great escaping and great maneuverments and balance by Evans. Conlon still holding on to that ankle best he can.
10 seconds.
You see if he stands up and brings Evans back into bounds as he does. Yep. Great to see.
As that's going to be 3 points with just under. That'll do it for the first period. Conlon gets the last second takedown heading into period number 2 with the advantage. Going to get what kind of positioning he'll get.
Conlon, like we said, 5-7 on the season. Got a win at the Princeton Open, got some wins at the Journeyman Classic. Did not get any wins at the Cleve Kane Invitational, but like we said, one of the toughest tournaments this season. For a starter for the Pride, he's looked pretty good so far.
Between Tapia and Conlon, it looks like these freshmen are really backing Papadatos' words of this is the best freshman class he's had in a while. They've really showed that so far today. Conlon doing what he can to fake out. You've seen that a couple times today by a couple of wrestlers earlier. Right now the advantage has gone to the Pride.
Edinboro has another freshman here out of Mapletown, PA, Brody Evans. both pretty tall guys for the 184-pound weight class. Brody Evans coming in at 5'11", Conlon at 6'2". Like we said, both pretty young rosters in general for these teams.
That's right, being 6'2" at 184, he's got to be having quite the low fat content in his body, I have to say. Conlon in a good position here. It's 3-1. He's got a 2-point advantage against Evans. Just under a minute left in the second period. Conlon has looked dominant all match, but that could change in an instant as Evans is still within winning distance. As he runs into the referee, as they'll call it out of bounds. In the reset, they'll go right back to this stalemating type position.
30 seconds.
As we're just under half a minute to go in the second period. It's looked to be Conlon's match so far today, as it's looked to be mostly Hofstra Pride's matches so far today. Conlon, a good reflection on the rest of it, is still only 3-1. So it's a closer game than you would think, but Conlon showing good defense and offense thus far today. And that'll do it for the second period. Heading into period number 3, Conlon looks to select bottom, and so he'll try and get that extra little escape point, making it a takedown's worth of a lead.
Pride, of course, coming into this match 2-2, coming off of 2 wins earlier this week, Morgan State and Bloomsburg. They'll have a tough competition against NC State next month, and then LIU, who Edinboro, of course, faced earlier today, getting completely blown out, 3-29. Both teams actually faced Ohio State earlier this season. Pride losing 51-0, and Edinboro, I want to say 53-0. So really shows you how dominant Ohio State is once again.
Will Conlon, he is 5-7 on the year, 2-2 in his dual matches. Those losses coming against Penn State and Ohio State, so I don't give him, I don't blame him for losing those two. The young freshman still has shown a great showcase so far for head coach Papadopoulos in his 2 wins against Kingsley Menifee of Morgan State and Tanner Culver of Bloomsburg.
About 40s.
Pushing away.
Get to the end of this third period. Conlon still looking for takedowns, still wanting to really secure that lead as they get into some upper body here. Both guys got to be tired at this point.
Good move there by Conlon, gets himself 3. As he'll shift positioning again, almost had an escape, but no. Conlon keeps in control, makes it 7-1, as the escape is finally awarded there by Brody Evans. Conlon, good low center of gravity here, trying to establish his base. He'll keep control of Evans. And that'll do it. Pride come away with another matchup victory here in the 184 division. It'll make way for Nicholas Miller in what might be one of the more anticipated matchups of the day.
So as we move to 197 pounds, Nick Miller for the Pride, of course, the starter, and then it'll actually be Jack Kilner. A little bit of a flip-flop for Edinboro. Earlier today, Nick Lodato was the starter at 280, or excuse me, Lodato was the starter for at 197. He'll move to be the starter at 285. Interesting flip-flop here. Means both of these guys weighed in under 197 pounds today. So Lodato will have tough competition against Kluver, who is a true 285. Jake Kilner, grad student, currently 8-9 on the season after his loss at 285 pounds against LIU earlier today.
I had an opportunity to talk to Nick Miller before this meet here with Edinboro, and when talking about his season, he said, we faced a lot of tough competition, but hey, tough competition is something you always need and want. Said it was a great learning experience against Ohio State and Penn State. Being in that kind of a spotlight is big and a new experience, but it lets you know where you are compared to other schools. So right now, Pride are doing well in their division, but going up against powerhouse schools like Ohio State and Penn State, they just aren't quite there yet, and that's why this season they are really able to develop those kinds of players.
Mm-hmm. Miller 3-6 on the season. Miller, of course, taking over for Trey Rogers, the senior who graduated last season. Miller himself a junior, so this might be the oldest matchup we see today with Miller as the junior and Kilner, a grad student.
Nick Miller ranked 13th in the EIWA via Flow Sports. As he's got good control of Kilner's, no, he'll lose control here. Looked like he had a good positioning of Kilner's left leg.
1 minute.
He's going to shoot for the other one. It's not going to work as they'll shift positioning. Good maneuverment there by Nick Miller. Shifting in and out.
And at this point, the Pride has secured the dual meet victory. Even if there was a fluke and Miller and Kluver were to lose by pins, they would still have won the overall duel. So nice win for the Pride. It's their third in a row. As they go, hoping that momentum will follow them into the Franklin and Marshall Open and against NC State in January.
So 3 straight. Nick Miller got control. He's trying to get Kilner on the ground here, as he will, but not enough for a takedown yet. Still in positioning to get that.
10 seconds.
10 seconds left in the first period. Miller trying to come away with a last second takedown. And no, it won't be enough. The time was not on Nick Miller's side in that one, as it looked like he was in a good position to get a nice 3, but instead he'll have to worry about Edinboro getting the 1-point escape for the first points of this matchup.
Miller earlier this week had a win by major decision against Morgan State and then had a loss against David Tuttle of Bloomsburg, also by decision.
Still awarding Hofstra correction stall point.
3-6 overall this season.
The stalling point, the second 1-point escape is awarded to Edinboro, the one Nick Miller had to worry about. As Nick Miller trying to claw his way back. When asked about his individual season he was having right now, he had said there's something to find high and low, but we're scrapping away, and he's trying to scrap through these victories the best he can. As we had said, he's 2-6 on the year, 1-3 in dual meets on the year, and 13-17 all time in his Hofstra career.
1 minute.
Miller showing good defense midway through this second period. He's got about 45 seconds to make something happen before the third. And it almost looked like he gave up a leg there to Kilner, but easy to move his body around the best he could. Is gonna a win here today, as with the victories from top and others, as he'll tie it up at 1. The victories earlier today, the Pride have already come away and sealed their 3rd victory in a row.
McFarland's pin has got to be the highlight for tonight. That was great.
That was, I think I looked to my right and the match was over and I said, hey, what? Either way, great showing there by Ross McFarland, as well as Jarius Clark. You cannot forget about that momentum shift Jarius Clark brought.
We actually might see another pin later tonight. Kluver has won all of his matches so far this season by pin, but back to this match here, as they're working on the edge of the mat. Miller fighting to get a takedown.
Matchup still within Nick Miller's victory. We're tied at 1 apiece with just about a minute to go in this 3rd period.
1 minute.
Nick Miller's going to try for anything he can right now. Almost a double leg shoot there by Kilner.
Good defense by Miller, but if no one scores here, we'll move to overtime.
30 seconds.
Just about gonna hit 20 seconds left in this 3rd period. Miller, good defense showing. Hasn't really been an offensive match here in the 197s, as we're just under 10 seconds to go. This one looks like it's gonna go into OT unless something drastic happens. No.
So I'll move to a period of sudden victory. Generally, statistically speaking, the first person to shoot is the first person to score. We'll see. Miller takes a shot.
Good scuffle there by both sides. You can tell they're both being quite worrisome, and all the moves they make, they need to be quite exact and precise, as this overtime matchup will be the deciding factor. Seems to be a pretty evenly matched opponent here in Kilner, as Miller gets the good shoot. He's got control of one, and no, they'll come back to their feet.
As Charles Small is calling out, Miller does have an underhook. We'll see if he does anything with it. Miller not a particularly upper body guy as they break contact.
Almost looked like Miller rubbed his nose on something. We haven't seen any sort of a blood or injury timeout since the first matchup with Dylan Acevedo.
With less than a minute, Miller just really needs to take a shot. Can move into the next portion of overtime, but I don't think he's going to want to do that. He's got to get moving here.
A very evenly matched fight here with Nick Miller and Jack Kilner.
30 seconds.
Just under half a minute to go in this first overtime, as Nick Miller. Oh, quite the scuffle. Miller not in a good spot here, as 3 is awarded to Kilner, and the victory goes to Kilner. Nick Miller ends up losing 4-1 in the 197 division. That'll make way for Keaton Kluver.
Just a little slip up there for Miller. Hard position to work through. So we move to 285 pounds. Number 21 ranked Keaton Kluver representing the Pride. And for the Fighting Scots, Nick Lodato, Jr. He moved up weight, of course, wrestled at 197 earlier today. Now he's wrestling at 285. He looks significantly smaller than Kluver.
And that significant size advantage is really showing early in this first period as Kluver quickly regained control. And it'll push him out of bounds. Kluver in a good position now.
Lodato, the junior. Kluver, of course, grad student, transferred from Minnesota this season. Big addition to the Pride. Some great wins so far. Also had a win against Penn State. Got a pin there.
Great position there by Kluver.
He's 6-1 on the season, has won all of his matches by pin. His only match he lost was against Nick Feldman of Ohio State, as he gets the takedown to start this match off strong.
Kluver trying to make quick work of this one, as you had said earlier in the broadcast. He's won every single match so far this year via a pin, and he is only 6-1 on the year. He also lost that one matchup via a pin of itself. 1 point escape awarded to Nick Lodato. Lodato needs to make something crafty here if he wants to come away with any sort of victory against Kluver, but the sheer size advantage that he boasts is quite the Goliath-esque factor that he needs to overcome.
He has wrestled at this weight class before, going 10-16 last season at 285 pounds, and he was 14-10 when he redshirted the season previous at 197 pounds.
Kluver, great moves by him, trying to send the Pride home as quickly as he can. Just about a minute and a half left in this first period. Only a question of when will the pin occur as Kluver is sent to the edge of the mat as they're sent out of bounds.
Lodato tried to go for a throw there. Risky move against a bigger guy, against a guy who we know is a little upper body strong. Tends to work through those positions pretty well. Do like seeing some speed, the heavyweight division.
In his 4 starts on the season for Minnesota, Kluver went 2-2 in 2022. Kluver had a pretty successful career over at Minnesota. He's from Minnesota. Could be from Kawana, Wisconsin. Although when I'd asked about it and talked to him before this matchup, he'd said he loves Minnesota. Minnesota's a special place in his heart. He's got family all over there, and he'll never forget his times. But he's happy to be a member of the Pride, and he's happy to be in the position he's in, as who wouldn't be? He's in a great position. He's number 25th ranked nationally on Flow, 21st ranked on Intermat, and 17th on WrestleStat. So looks like Kluver having himself a pretty more than solid season in his first year for the Pride.
As he sets up a nice throw here for trying to go for a pin. He's gotten pins here before.
He'll get a back point as well.
Still be out of bounds.
As he's finally out of bounds, so he got the 3-point takedown, and it almost looked like the referee signaled for the back point. Nothing awarded just yet. Kluver looks to be arguing, not sure what the call is. Papadato selects to...
Oh, he wants Charles Small to throw the brick to make a challenge on that call.
Looks like they won't.
No. They're going to make him work for it a little bit more.
Looks like Papadatos wants to see what else Kluver can do as quickly he gets him on the ground, but great recovery by Lodato, getting back to the center, and he'll get the 1-point escape. And that'll do it for the first period. Nick Lodato only down by 4 right now in the start of the second period.
This is where the score can be a little deceptive. Down by 4, but
2 escape points?
Yeah. I would not say he's even in this match.
Not as even as a 4-point disadvantage?
No. Kluver has had some big wins this season. He pinned number 11 Luis Fernandez of Cornell. He'll get to see him later in the season at EIWA competitions, or at the championships, excuse me. Not sure if Hofstra will see Cornell in any of these upcoming
Great move by Kluver. No points awarded just yet, though. 1 point advantage. Excuse me. The 2-point reversal for Kluver. For the 1 point escape for Hofstra is awarded, however. As just about a minute and a half in this second period, we're about halfway through this matchup with Keaton Kluver. Although we're usually used to seeing a pin by now out of Keaton Kluver, I'd say. Still, I'm holding on to that one. Will that pin come about? As they're pushed out of bounds again.
The longest it's taken him to get a pin was 4 minutes and 32 seconds against AJ Friccioni of Penn State. And his quickest pin this season was at 43 seconds against Luis Fernandez of Cornell.
Interesting enough, in that one, Keaton Kluver told Coach Papadopoulos that he was going to be pinning Fernandez, as he did. And another 3-point takedown is awarded to Keaton Kluver. So just a matter of how many takedowns does he want to get against Lodato. Kluver in a good position here now. He's got Lodato on the ground already. Just needs to make it into a pinfall position for him.
He's got a half there. See if he does anything with it.
Lodato, good escape attempt, but it's not going to work against the experienced grad student in Kluver. And so it looks like Lodato will get his third escape point. And almost shifting that leg off the ground again. Not going to work. Oh, some booing and disapproval coming from the Hofstra bench, as well as Coach Papadopoulos.
10 seconds.
Papadopoulos referring to Lodato standing at 6'4", quite tall for a wrestler. Kluver, no, not short either at 6'3", but
looks like the height advantage not working as well in Lodato's favor as he had hoped. As Kluver up 7 points with 3 takedowns and an escape. Kluver picking up where he left off. He'll try and end it here. About a minute and 45 seconds left in this third period. If Lodato can hold out for just a little bit longer, he'll set the record for the longest match anybody's ever lasted against Keaton Kluver. That is this year.
Kluver has had one loss, of course. Nick Feldman, a formidable opponent from Ohio State. The Pride, of course, have already secured the dual meet victory, currently 23-9. We'll see how much that score changes after this match.
1 minute.
We're down to our last minute on the day with this one. Keaton Kluver with the 6-point advantage, allowing 4 escape points for Nick Lodato. Lodato shooting for the leg. It's not going to work. He's got good control of Lodato's head. Kluver needs to make something happen with this. He'll shift to changing to control of a leg, and then they'll push out of bounds.
Getting the Hofstra bench fired up. Heavyweights always do.
The bench wanted a stall, it looked like. Either way, we're down to our last 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Kluver just needs to hold out, make sure nothing critically terrible happens to him, as he'll shift and takes him to the ground. That's going to be another 3-point takedown against Lodato. 15 seconds left on the day. Kluver just kind of needs to lay on him for as long as he can if he wants.
Under 10 seconds.
And it looks like that's what they're going to be doing. And that's going to do it. Keaton Kluver with the 10-point victory. 15-point victory, 15-4 with that minute of riding time makes it an 11-point win. So Keaton Kluver, great victory for him, and that'll make it 27-9 in this dual meet against Edinboro. Hofstra Pride coming away with their third victory in a row.
27, Edinboro 9.
That'll make Hofstra 3-2 on the season. Of course, their next competition is the Franklin and Marshall Open. Franklin and Marshall Open in Lancaster, PA, on January 5th, and then they will be home against North Carolina State on Sunday, January 7th. A couple more duels, and then they will be home once again, end of January, against LIU.
So a great showing by the Pride, and a great comeback by the Pride after starting the season 0-2, eventually making their way to the position they are at 3-2. So hopefully they can ride that wave and ride that momentum all the way to the end of the year. But in the meantime, this has been Peter Nicolino sitting alongside Olivia Hillstead. As I'd say, we had quite